Okay, this is an introduction to relative clauses. If you are interested in writing in English at a level above IELTS, maybe 4 or 5, then you have to be able to write in complex sentences. And relative clauses is one of the most important complex sentence structures that you can learn. Okay, so let's have a look. In this video we're going to look at two types of relative clause. We're going to look at defining relative clauses and non-defining relative clauses and how to choose the right one. So a simple sentence has one subject, one object and one verb. However, we often make sentences much more complicated. In this sentence, for example, we are talking about Paul, but we're also talking about a train. We're telling everybody that Paul was late, he was late for the train, and the train was about to leave. So there's lots of information in this sentence, and the sentence structure here is very complex. So we're going to learn how to make this kind of sentence. When we have two sentences that we want to join together, like these two, we have the man was late and the man ran to the train. So we might try to join them together in this way, but you can see that the subject of the sentence is the same each time. So the man is very repetitious, and we need a joining word anyway to make this join with this. So what we need to do is we need to take the second repetition of the subject out and add a joining word. So the sentence becomes, the man who was late ran to the train. The joining word that we choose depends on what kind of thing is being repeated. So in this sentence you can see that we have a train. In fact, we have a train twice. So we need to cut the second one and replace it with a joining word. But which of the three joining words would make sense here? So the answer is, of course, a train is a thing. So the best choice is which, not who or where or when, but which. The train, which was about to leave, was going to Sydney Airport. Okay, so let's check. Have a look at this sentence here and decide how many joining words can you see in this complex sentence. The answer is 2. The man who was late ran to the train, which was just about to leave. So we're giving extra information about a man, and we're saying who, and we're giving extra information about a train, and we're saying which. So how do we know what the main part of the sentence is? Well, what we need to do is we need to look at the start of the sentence. The start of the sentence gives you the subject of the whole sentence. So the man is the start of the sentence, so we're mostly interested in the man. The next bit we can see is separated by a comma, and a comma here. So this who was late is extra information added to the sentence after it's already been written. So the man actually continues over here. The man continues with ran to the train. If you look at the next bit, we can see that we're saying which. So we're not talking about the man anymore, we're talking about the train. So this is extra information here. You can see a comma again. So this piece of information is extra pieces of information about the train. So this is extra, and this is extra. This is the main part of the sentence. The other two parts of the sentence are relative clauses. These are joined to the main sentence with a joining word. Relative is something that is joined to something else. So relative clauses is simply a joining clause. This clause is connected to the main clause, and this clause is also connected to the main clause. The main clause is here. Okay, so relative clauses are joined to the main clause with a joining word. So here you can see the computer is the main clause, and we're adding some information by using which. Father Christmas is the main subject, and we're adding some more information by saying who. So there are just two different types of relative clauses, and there is very little difference. They are very similar, and they work the same way. There's just one thing that you have to remember. Have a look again at these two sentences. Can you see the tiny difference between number 1 and number 2? Okay, so this is the difference. There is a little comma, comma, but here there's no comma. So how do we know when we're using a no comma relative clause, and how do we know when we're using a comma relative clause? So this is what the video is going to teach you next. Okay, the first group of relative clauses is called a defining relative clause. Defining relative clauses give a definition of the subject. So the subject is the computer. But which computer are we talking about? Well, this is a little definition. Which computer? The computer which I bought last week. So defining relative clauses give a definition. Non-defining relative clauses are the other type. These ones don't give a definition, they just give extra information. So in this case, the subject is Father Christmas. Now Father Christmas is a real name. It's a title, but it's a real name. And so I know who Father Christmas is. This information is not giving me a definition, it's just giving me extra information. So when I give extra information that is not a definition, I put a little comma. It is very easy to tell between non-defining and defining relative clauses, and I'll explain how you can do that in the next bit. Okay, so let's concentrate on non-defining relative clauses first. Non-defining relative clauses, remember, have commas, and they give information which is extra. Not a definition, but just extra. Now the important word on this page that you need to pay attention to is this word. Non-defining relative clauses give us more information about something with a name. If you can see a name at the beginning of your sentence, then that means that the next part cannot be a definition. This is a name, and I don't need to give a definition, so I put a comma. Jackie Chan, for example, is definitely a name, right? Jackie Chan is a movie actor. Now, if I want to give more information about Jackie Chan, make my sentence more complex and higher level, then what I need to do is I need to add a relative clause. just after the name. So have a look at these two relative clauses. Jackie Chan, who was born in Hong Kong, is a movie actor. Jackie Chan, who is an expert martial artist, is a movie actor. So the main clause stays the same, but the relative clause has different pieces of information. Because this is a name, I don't need a definition, and I do use commas. I like to talk about pinning the information on. Imagine that your sentence, Jackie Chan is a movie actor, is on a pin board, and you want to add some extra information. This is not important information, and you're inserting it into the middle of the sentence. So how do you do that? You use two pins. You're pinning the sentence, the extra sentence, in the middle, and you need two pins. Okay, group 2. Let's look at defining relative clauses. Okay, this time the information is needed. Remember, it is necessary information. It is a definition. So when we need a definition is when we cannot identify something. In other words, the subject of the sentence is not a name. The computer? Which computer? The computer which I bought last week. Oh, that computer. Which computer is broken? Ah, the computer that I bought last week is broken. This computer. So in this case, what we have is no name and no comma. And that's the rule I want you to try and remember. If the sentence starts with no name, then no comma. So it's a no-no rule, right? No name, no comma. Say that to yourself 100 times and you will always remember it. No name, no comma. Okay, so let's pause for a moment and quiz you about defining relative clauses. So we've talked about no name means no comma. So here is a sentence with no name. The man? Which man? Well, this man. The man sitting next to me. So I want to use this as my definition. So how would I use that? Where do I put the information? And what word would I add? And do I use commas? So there's the answer. No comma, because no name. No name, no comma. And the information goes in the middle. And the joining word is who, because it's a man. The man? Which man? The man who is sitting next to me is deaf. Here's another question. How would I define this sentence and join it together and make it complex? Okay, so once again, no name, no comma, and it's a pizza this time. So I would use which or that. And I've used that, but you can totally use which, so if you said which, that's fine. The pizza which I made yesterday was horrible, or the pizza that I made yesterday was horrible. Now, which piece of information, this one or this one, makes a better definition? Well, it was horrible is kind of the result, isn't it? This is which pizza. I made it yesterday. So I made it yesterday, and now It is horrible. So this one makes a better definition. So this one is the defining relative clause. Okay, so let's review. We've got two types of relative clause. We've got defining and non-defining. And we've got a rule, no name, no comma. So where do I look? Where do I look for the name? I look in the beginning, right? The beginning of the sentence is all I need. I actually don't need to look at anything else. All of this is very interesting, but this is the only thing I need to see. If I see the word Tasmania, I think, is that a name? If it is a name, then it is commas. Yes, name? Yes, commas. So here's some more names. Tasmania, Paul, Egypt, country, Bill Clinton, maybe a famous person, Mount Everest, the name of a mountain. It could be the name of a forest, or a river, or a country, or a city. It could be anybody's name. Do you know Paul? It doesn't matter if you know Paul or not. Just the fact that Paul is a name is enough. Name means commas. Yes, name. Yes, commas. On the other hand, the man. Which man? The table? Which table? A mountain. I don't know which mountain though. A cake. All of these are unidentified, right? We don't know which one they are. No name, no commas. If you see the doctor in the beginning of the sentence, is it commas or no commas? No commas. The doctor who examined me was very nice. The Himalayas. Now, if you don't know this word, it actually doesn't matter. Look at that. That's a clue. Is this commas or no commas? So H is capital. That means this is a name. The Himalayas are actually a mountain range in southwestern Europe, and they are some of the highest in the world. But it doesn't matter if you know this. All that matters is that the capital letter tells you this is a name, and therefore it is commas. So, right or wrong this time? Here's a sentence. Is this correct? Yep, that's correct. The man? Which man? No name, no comma. Right or wrong? Wrong. The President of America. Now this is the title of one person, right? So how many presidents of America are there? Well, right now, there's only one. So the President of America is the same as a name, because there's only one of them. So this is a name, so this is a comma. Right or wrong? The Amazon River. Yup. There's the capital, so it's the name of a river. Okay, congratulations, you are done. So how did you do? If you need to ask me any questions, I'll see you soon.